This is 9 News with Peter Overton.
Good evening. In our hour of need, they were watching over us. But today, disaster for one of the heroes in the sky. A pilot who had been fighting bushfires near Ulladulla was killed when his plane crashed in rugged bushland.
Not even tragedy could stop the fight.
Just going around again, guys. The wind's got me there.
Choppers this afternoon resuming their mission.
Yeah, Roger, we saw that one. It was on the spot.
While not far away, almost lost in the smoke and in the treetops, scattered pieces of one of their fleet. In the wreck, the body of 43-year-old David Black from Trangie. He was a veteran firebomber.
There's a family suffering tonight or today because their dad hasn't come home.
A paramedic was winched into the crash site to confirm the worst, but efforts to retrieve him have been delayed because of the fire and the weather. The 43-year-old was piloting an agriculture spray plane like this one, dumping retardant on a fire which has burned for days in the national park west of Ulladulla. A report from one eyewitness claims a wing may have torn off the fuselage moments before the crash.
This, again, is a further reminder that our firefighting teams, whether on the ground or in the air, put their safety at risk to protect the lives and properties of others at times like this.
It's a perilous job at the best of times, the thick smoke, the turbulence and the wind. And at the time of the accident today, it was howling up to 40 knots. Whether that played a role here, well, that will be up to investigators to determine. David had clocked up thousands of flying hours and was a member of a charity group that flies patients to medical facilities around the country.
We've suffered a huge tragedy on one of our fire grounds today.
Throughout this current emergency, the area warriors have spearheaded the battle, saving property and lives. And that makes today's tragedy so hard to accept. Damien Ryan, 9 News.
There was no rest for firefighters in the Blue Mountains today, with a fresh emergency warning issued for residents near the Bells line of road. Reporter Lizzie Pearl is in Bell tonight. Lizzie, what's the latest where you are?
Well, Pete, it's a chilly night here in Bell tonight, but these strong and gusty southwesterly winds really kicked up this state mine fire this afternoon, causing it to jump the Bells line of road just behind us where we are at this roadblock, and it's now burning towards communities west of Bilpin. There are 2 air cranes in the air trying to stop this blaze, but the rest of the aircraft have been grounded due to the high winds. The advice for locals in Mount Tomah and Barrambing is to try to relocate to Bilpin. For people in Mount Irvine and Mount Wilson is to stay where you are because these roads are closed. So there is an emergency warning in place for this massive blaze, which was sparked by operations on Defence land. Thumped by a monster, leaving a yard dotted with melted cars, the skeleton of a bus.
The other 2 houses caught fire. They were exploding, cars were burning, cars were going off.
Metres away, Sean Butler's home is still standing. He fought with hoses and a couple of mates, but they couldn't save the houses just across the road.
There was like a war zone.
The guys from South Bowen Fells.
Firefighter Paul Fossey has a framed reminder of just how close the state mine fire came to his place. His home is ringed with black.
We knew we were in for it, but the severity, no, and it was I don't want to go through that again.
So many homes in the Lithgow area dodged a bullet, but today we learnt who may have been holding the gun. Behind this fence is the Marangaroo Army Camp, the place the RFS has pinpointed as the trigger for this huge blaze. The problem firefighters had was, as hot winds fanned the fire through thick bushland, they could do nothing but let it burn. On foot, with trucks or in the air, fighting a fire on a live firing range just can't be done.
The fire that grew was largely a result of the extraordinary weather conditions at the time. They've been exercising and training and operating on live firing ranges for decades.
The day the fire kicked off, there were no fire bans, but a small blaze quickly took hold. Now it's already burnt through close to 50,000 hectares of bushland, leaving a black scar on the landscape.
We're all going to have to come together and learn the lessons that we need to learn to stop this happening again.
Defence says it wants to check the facts before offering an apology.
And the purpose of our inquiry is to fully determine the facts which may identify any lessons to be learnt for us.
The Lithgow community doesn't want to talk about blame. There are only 2 words on their lips today: thank you. Lizzie Pearl, 9 News.